All right. So my question to you is, when you see a barbershop being sold, and people say, like, say it's a six-chair shop, and they're selling it for $40,000, what is that person actually buying?
You know what? There are formulas for calculating the value of a small business, any type of business. Obviously, a service business different from a retail type business, but all service businesses, there's formulas, benchmark formulas that they use, where you look at what are annual sales,
Okay.
what are cost of goods, what is bottom line profitability, what does cash flow look like.
Okay.
You can be not particularly profitable, but have very high levels of cash flow. So there are professionals who use these formulations for this. I can only answer that question directly from my own personal experience. And in that case, I can tell you, used barbershop furniture is worthless. Okay, the earth is covered with old chairs. Okay, mirrors, styling stations.
Yeah.
This stuff is junk.
Yeah.
A lot of times, you have a barbershop goes out of business,
Yeah.
and you've got a landlord. I used to get these phone calls from a landlord who would say, "You know anybody who wants this junk? Because if he come by with his brother-in-law in a truck and take it away,
Yeah.
you can have it for free." So what you're really buying at the end of the day when you buy a barbershop is you're buying goodwill. You're buying the name and the reputation in the community. You're also buying what, there's a term for it, I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's the value of the location. As an example, the barbershop that I've been working part-time in Cincinnati has been in that location almost 100 years.
Oh, wow.
How much value is tied to the idea that generations of people have come to this place to buy a haircut? I don't think you can measure that, but that's included in the purchase price.
Yeah, the way I see things now is shops are being built with barbers who are establishing their own clientele. They're in the shop but kind of separate from the shop, or even if they're in the shop and connected to the shop, but when that shop sells, those barbers most likely will be displaced, so the clientele is going to go with those barbers. And a lot of the barbers don't have those numbers that you're talking about.
Right.
They don't have a way to calculate that. You can go to all the different barbers in that shop booking app and seeing how
Yes,
they,
that's an argument for number one, keeping good books.
Yes.
So that you have the documentation, the accountability. Keep in mind, in the case of chair rent, if you're renting spaces to barbers, you don't own a barbershop.
Yeah.
You're a landlord, you own an apartment building.
Yes.
So you're in a different business.
Yes.
How much is an apartment building worth? Well, that's easy math. If you've got 8 chairs you're renting for $100 a week, you've got $800 a week in revenue, 4 weeks in a month,
Yeah.
8 days 16, $3,200, that's your potential monthly revenue.
Yeah.
That's a fixed formula.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it. That's easy calculation. When you talk about commission situations, then you really have to know what is the volume coming out of these individuals that goes into that overall number. But you're right, people are not possessions. When you buy a barbershop, you're not buying the crew.
No.
When I sold my shop, almost all of the crew stayed on initially. But then there's a change in management, there's a change in ownership,
Yeah.
there's a change in personalities. Several of them are still there to this day, and it's a long time ago. Several of them left right away. You're not buying the loyalty of those people. You're buying reputation. You're buying connection to community, and used furniture.
Yeah. And I tell people when I see barbershops for sale, I'm like, I don't want none of their furniture. I don't care how new it is. I want my look in that shop. I don't want their look. I want their database. But even that, they don't have that database for me that they're going to just.
Sometimes
give
they don't
me.
have the database. Sometimes even possession of the database doesn't necessarily equate
yes.
to it transferring over. A lot of times, if you buy an existing barbershop, the most valuable thing you're buying is the idea that the electric and the plumbing is already in place. Because anybody you know who's ever built a barbershop has purchased a Mercedes for a plumber. Okay? Because if you got a location that used to be, an accountant's office, and you got to run plumbing,
Yeah.
the plumber is now your best friend.
Yes.
You're financing his child's college.
Yeah.
So the fact that I tell people, I get this question all the time from people. Hey, I want to open a barbershop. What's my budget? I love that question. How much should I budget? And the answer is the budget to open a brand new barbershop is zero. Because the earth is covered with closed barbershops. A landlord will give you all of the furniture if you sign the lease. So the answer is find a closed barbershop that has the electric, it has the plumbing, it has the infrastructure in place, And the other thing I tell people is don't go into debt to open a barbershop. Get the door unlocked and get the register ringing. You want that fancy front desk? Work for a couple of months to pay for it. You want new chairs? We all started cutting hair in a lawn chair, okay? You know, when you have the money, then you make those investments as you go. That's one of the cool things about our businesses. Opening up a business is open to anyone. You do not need a rich uncle or $1 million.
All right, man. But that was good.